Hi, what's up? It's me, Haley Jones, and today we are talking Farragut versus Hardin Valley, the area of Farragut versus the area of Hardin Valley. Now, this is a data deep dive. So if you don't care about the data and you prefer just to hear anecdotal commentary, then go check out that video. But this video, we're gonna get into numbers. We're gonna talk about population density. We're gonna talk about hospitals. We're gonna talk about shopping. We're gonna talk about schools, which has a bigger school. We're talking who's new construction, who has more new construction, who's more expensive when it comes to housing. So we're looking at all the data. If you do not like data, this is not for you. So that being said, go check out the anecdotal evidence video if you want that, or go watch it if you want that also. So that being said, let's dive in and get started. All right, so first things first, just want to tell you this shirt is on purpose. Farragut, their mascot, the school, is Farragut Admiral. So this is like very much like, to me, like a boat shirt. I feel like I could go onto the yacht or whatever. This could be like a cute bathing suit cover up top. But simultaneously, Hardin Valley, they are the Hawks, but their colors are blue and like silver. So it goes for both, okay? So the other thing I want to tell you is that Farragut versus Hardin Valley in some ways is a non-comparison comparison, strictly for the fact that Farragut is so much more established. It is a much older community. It has roots back into the 1800s. The Farragut High School as we know it, the original Farragut opened in 1904 as like a 1904 and 1906 as a 6-room classroom. Now the Farragut High School we see today, we got in the 70s versus the Hardin Valley Academy we see today, we got in 2008. So I just want to tell you that just kind of grounds you from if we just look at schools as an example of who's more established, the Farragut community is much more established. The other thing is that Farragut is its own town. It is a part of Knox County. So the Hardin Valley is not that. So just want to say those things out the gate. I also want to address the fact of strictly what I'm considering today as Farragut and Hardin Valley. We are looking specifically at 2 zip codes. For Farragut, we are looking at 37934. For Hardin Valley, we are looking at 37932. Now, some people are going to take issue with this because, for example, the school zoning includes other parts of zip codes. However, let's look at some maps. We're gonna jump into the computer. I'm gonna show you some maps comparatively of like the school zone versus the zip code, and that's gonna explain why I'm only talking about these 2 specific zip codes, because they pretty much give us the sample of what is Farragut versus what is Hardin Valley. Okay, so let's jump into maps first of all. So here is Hardin Valley, the zip code, okay? And, that's Farragut. We don't need that yet. Here is Hardin Valley, the school zone, okay? So today, when we talk about Hardin Valley, we are talking about 37932, okay? That's it. Hardin Valley, however, the school zone bleeds into 37923, which we call Cedar Bluff. The Hardin Valley, this is Hardin Valley Academy, by the way. This is not talking about ball camp. This is not talking about Cedar Bluff Elementary. We're not talking about that. I'm talking about Hardin Valley Academy, just because that's the biggest macro view that we can get. So for Hardin Valley specifically today, I'm talking about 37932. So for example, if you're thinking, well, what about Hardin Valley schools? Just notice that there is a pocket of Hardin Valley zoning that goes here. It's like this awkward pocket, which you can kind of see from this map. It's this weird pocket between Pellissippi and this is Kingston Pike. So that's this weird place, which I don't even know how much residential is actually there. So I don't even think that matters. So Hardin Valley today, we are only talking about 37932, even though I want to acknowledge that some of the zoning goes into 37932, Cedar Bluff, and slightly into Carnes area. So see this part? Like this is Carnes. 37931. So that's Hardin Valley. When I'm talking about Farragut specifically, I want to show you that we are only talking about 37934 because you can see that there's this part here, 37932. This is Pellissippi Parkway, okay? So in my mind, as a native Knoxville person, when I cross, this is 140, we call it Pellissippi Parkway. When I go across Kingston Pike, or when I turn off Pellissippi and I go west, everything in my mind as a native Knoxville person is Farragut. However, Farragut technically the town of Farragut is it's 2 wards, which is what that map was. See this map? So you can see there's 2 parts of it, but this is Farragut, which is for the most part, this zip code right here, right? This part. Now, what I want to point out to you is that the school zone map includes an area called Showdown and part of Concord. So Concord is kind of this part between Pellissippi to the water-ish, a little here, and then this part is now really more what we call Showdown, the Showdown area. So I just want to acknowledge that I'm not including any of this 37922. See how this is 37772 is Loudoun. So that's what that's just saying, that this is the border of Loudoun County. That's a side note. But all of this 37922, this little shoe down here, that is also technically zoned for Farragut High School. However, I am only including in the data these 2 zip codes, 37932 and 37934, because they are, if you can see, they are the bulk of those areas. So that's why I'm only including those 2. Let me just tell you, if you like a spreadsheet, the next part is for you. We're just gonna go through the spreadsheet. I'm gonna make some comparisons. I'm gonna give you some commentary on those comparisons so you can kind of get a feel for, from a data perspective, what are the differences between these 2. Okay, so let's dive in. Here is my data sheet. Okay, so as I mentioned in the intro, I do have a version of this that's like West Knox versus South Knox. But today we are only talking, so if you're interested in that, go check that out. But again, today we are only talking about Farragut versus Hardin Valley. And when I say versus or verse, it's not like I'm trying to put them against each other. I'm just saying we're going to compare these 2. If we just go line by line, as I mentioned, I already discussed why I am only using 37934 and 37932. It just makes the most sense. If we dabble into the other zip codes, it's getting a little bit away from those areas specifically. All right, so from a population or from a size standpoint, Farragut itself is a smaller area. The area is smaller. The population, however, is larger. So you can see that there are more people that live in 37934 than there are in Hardin Valley, which means we have a major difference between population density. So Farragut is almost 3 times more dense when it comes to population than Hardin Valley. And I want to point this out to you because when you are thinking, I want to move to Farragut and I want to find a 1-acre lot to build on, it's possible. There's not a ton of land left in Farragut. Okay, so there's just more space currently available in Hardin Valley. I went to West High School. I grew up off of Middlebrook Pike, which is West Knoxville. I went to West High. When I grew up, I graduated from high school in 2003, okay? In 2003, there was no Hardin Valley. It was not a thing. It did not exist. We went as far as what is known as Pellissippi Community College. And if you're like, what is that? Let me just show you on this map so you can see. If I just pull up Knox County and show you this. So here is all of Knox County. Knox County, huge. We talked about it. If you don't know, go watch some of those videos. We talked about it. Here's downtown. Okay, we've got, this is Middlebrook Pike, blah, 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 blah. Farragut has long been established, incorporated into Knox County in 1980. Okay, so it's been around. However, this area was mostly farmland. And when I say we would only go as far as Pellissippi Community College is right off of this exit. Like, we went that far because I played soccer, AYSO soccer. There's some AYSO fields right here. Those are the soccer fields I used to play at. Okay, so this Hardin Valley Road becomes Middlebrook. So none of this was there. Like, this was, there was nothing, okay? And then here's Pellissippi. So that's as far as we would go. So if we zoom out, like, here's Pellissippi Parkway and here's 40. Farragut is all down here. There was nothing here. Okay, so I just want to make the point that Hardin Valley is new. by comparison. And also the reason why Hardin Valley has so much new construction, which I'm going to get to, is because it was never utilized. And so it's kind of the last frontier when it comes to moving west in Knox County, if that makes sense. A quick note about water area. Farragut doesn't really have 37934, again, that's a distinction because 37922 has more water frontage. And part of that is, zone Farragut is considered Farragut. So, but Farragut proper itself, 37934, not much water area. And if you're like, what water is in Hardin Valley? That would be Mountain Hill, which all of this is Mountain Hill Lake. So you can just see that. So that's when it comes to water. I include that because we do have so many lakes, etc. around. Median household income. Let's see, let's look at this. Let's look at some home pricing stuff. So all of this is home pricing. Couple things of note. This is talking about household incomes. This is talking about what percentage are county only taxes. So Knox County versus the city of Knoxville are two different things. City of Knoxville within here. This is a map of Knox County, right? But if I go backwards and I say Knoxville, it's a smaller space. See that? So everybody within this is paying city taxes and county taxes. So when we talk about county only taxes, that means that you're only paying county taxes, which also means you are gonna have to additionally pay for trash service, for EMS, etc. That's a side note. Not the point of this, but I do want to tell you that all of these, everybody residentially in these zip codes are paying county only taxes. Now let's look at some housing prices. So when I initially pulled all of this data, it was the end of November 2024. As I'm making this, it is now January 8th, 2025. So these numbers track. This is really just to give us an example of what the two different markets are doing. So column B, this is Farragut. Column C, this is Hardin Valley. A couple of things. You can see average sale price for 2023. Farragut's more expensive and 24 as well. We can also see home price appreciation is very different. Look at this. Hardin Valley down almost 3%. Farragut up 6.7% prices. We can look at days on market. Farragut's moving more quickly in both 2023 and in 2024. Both of them we can see longer in 2023 than all of Knox County or all of West Knox. But if we look at 2024, we see that Farragut continues to be quicker than both Hardin Valley and all of West Knox. Now, if we look at absorption rate, so that is basically a picture of inventory. Who has more inventory? Who is more of a seller's market? If we look at what's happened in 2023, we saw that we had less inventory in Farragut than we had in Hardin Valley. We see again that they're actually pretty much evened out in 2024. So more active sellers per se and more active listings available in Farragut, while, I still want to point out to you that a 2.34 months of inventory, that's saying that if no other houses came in the market right now today, we would run out of houses in Farragut in 2.34 months. We would run out of houses in 2.36 months in Hardin Valley. So this is not a huge difference. It does, however, indicate to me that this is still, the perception is that rates have gone down, prices are decreasing and all this. That's not necessarily true. And I want to mention to you that you are seeing price reductions because those are houses still on the market. You're not getting a notification when something's going under contract. You're getting a notification if you're looking when a price drops, not when it goes pending. So just keep that in mind. It's top of mind, right? It's telling you, hey, price dropped. It's not telling you, hey, this one went under contract. So just keep in mind. Part of that, I get a lot of people saying we're seeing more price reductions. It's not, it's really just more because that's what you're getting notified about. Now are prices reducing more than they were in 2023? Yes, but it's not like every house is doing that. Okay, rent per month. Okay, so again, we see that Farragut is more expensive based on rent than Hardin Valley. Let's talk about this for a second. This is where you're gonna see some major differences. First of all, let's look at new construction. That's this line here. What this is this is pulling all transactions active, pending continue to show, pending first right of refusal, pending financing, pending inspection, closed, all of those. every category of a sales transaction for 2024 for new construction. So there were 91 out of 606 all transactions. So that's 15% of all home sales in 2024 in Farragut were a new construction house. So how did I do that? I went in and I filtered out year built 2024. Okay, so 15% of all transactions, so 606, active, pending, closed, everything, were new construction. Whereas, this is what I'm saying, Hardin Valley, 42% of transactions in 2023 in the Hardin Valley area were new construction. Now, there's a couple things that are playing into that. Number one, Hardin Valley, as I said, continues to be more the wild, wild west. There's land out there to build. We've got builders building out there. And there is not as much inventory for resale, right? Whereas in Farragut, what we see is that the homes there are much more established. So just want to say that on that new construction end, like obviously, we had 606 transactions for a smaller space. Remember that Farragut is 16.2 square miles, whereas Hardin Valley is about 29 square miles. However, we see that, it's not that huge. I mean, this is a difference of 200 something houses, but my point is that Farragut has more older homes to transact than does Hardin Valley. So that's one thing. The other thing here is that if you're looking new construction and you're bound on new construction, then where are you going to have more opportunity to get new construction? In Hardin Valley, because that's where the builders are. Now, I also wanted to see, okay, who all's building? Again, there's not as much space in Farragut to build. And if you were to go to this, like Saddlebrook, for example, specifically, if you look at Meadows on McPhee, the Grove at Boyd Station, the Grove, all of those are pretty much as far west as you can get in the county, because there are not a ton of options left. Now, I think I actually took a screenshot of this in my maps. Let me show you. Okay, yes, I did. Okay, so this is 37934 new construction. So this is Meadows on McPhee, Grove at Boyd Station. These are all Saddlebrook. This is Goodall, Ivy Farms. So those are the two big builders. Then you've got some one-offs. You've got a Ben Testerman, I think I saw, and Haven Homes. So Haven Homes, they are, I think, right over here. But anyways, this for sure is Saddlebrook. This for sure is Goodall Homes, Ivy Farms. And this is the Meadows on McPhee, Grove, and Grove at Boyd Station. So you don't have a ton of space for new construction. However, if we look at what's happening in Hardin Valley, we said 42%, 373 new construction homes in 2024. So that being said, who all's out there and where are they? If we look at what's happening in Hardin Valley, you can see that you've got new construction pretty much everywhere. You've got D.R. Horton, you've got Smith Built, you've got Turner. This actually might be Turner and this might be Smith Built. You've got the Saddlebrook, you've got Ball Homes, so more Turner. So you have a lot more builders there because there's just a lot more land out there. I mean, that's point blank period what's going on. So, when you're thinking, okay, well, where would I want to go if I only want new construction? You're going to have more options in Hardin Valley. Now, I also want to tell you that all of these builders, with the exception of Saddlebrook and Smith Built, most of these are spec homes. Most of them. So Saddlebrook, for example, you can reserve a lot in both Farragut or Hardin Valley. You can make almost pretty much every customization you could want to make with Saddlebrook. And Saddlebrook is going to be your closest option to custom than you just calling up a builder and building a custom home. They've got floor plans. Some of those you can do bump outs, you can do this, you can do that, you can do anything. I mean, you could do anything. I have some clients right now. We close in a couple of days. They got under contract in May. They handpicked everything for that house. So that's Saddlebrook. The next closest option to that is going to be Smith Built. But Smith Built isn't building currently in Farragut. And Smith Built is also a hurry up. You got to get the lot before they start building it. So not as much flexibility, because if you don't get in there quick enough, you're not going to be able to make enough adjustments. The rest of these, now Ben Testerman does do some custom stuff. But for the most part, the rest of these that you see, Turner Homes, specifically D.R. Horton, Ball Homes, those are pretty much spec homes for the most part. Goodall Homes over here, it's a spec house. They will tell you that they They basically pimp the house out as much as possible, and their product is the product. They do the finishes, they make it as high level as they think. And so it is what it is. What you see is what you get. So just kind of bear that in mind. Now, what I thought was fascinating is we said that, resale homes, home sales are more expensive in Farragut than Hardin Valley by comparison. But look at this, average new construction list price for Farragut, $310.76 a square foot versus Hardin Valley, $315.49. Now let's just pause for a second and let me tell you that some of these builders are more of a value builder. For example, D.R. Horton is a value builder. Their cost per square foot to build is much less than Saddlebrook. It's two completely different classes of new construction, different homes, different square feet, everything. It's not the same product. It's not the same. So I just want to tell you that, yeah, these are more, the Hardin Valley builders are certainly a larger box builder versus these are more towards the custom idea. So just by that nature in and of itself, that's going to drive our price per square foot up. So there is also this kind of, when we talk about an average, we've got some outliers bringing us down. We've got some outliers bringing us up. Just note that there's more opportunity in those price points for this price to be brought down. So certainly I'm not saying that a Saddlebrook in Farragut is $310 a square foot versus a brand new construction Saddlebrook in Hardin Valley is $215. That's not true. Now there are some different setback differences that make Farragut, there's some different larger setbacks and stuff like that in Farragut, which you're gonna pay a little bit more. Yes, however, it's not as if the Saddlebrook homes are $105 cheaper per square foot. That's not true. So just kind of keep this stat, take it with a grain of salt, if you will. Now let's also look at lot size. I found this interesting. Farragut new construction 0.26 on average, Hardin Valley new construction 0.21. Again, that is an average of everything. A lot of a certain builder, their lots are 0.17. You have rules where you have to have a wider setback on either side. So that might contribute to this slightly larger yard. But I included this because it's not as if everything in new construction is an acre. No, it's not. So just don't want to burst your bubble. I'm just telling you. That's where we are on new construction. Okay, so let's just look at a little bit other things when it comes to living in these areas. So Target, Costco, Turkey Creek, those are all in Farragut. From a shopping perspective, look at the difference. Nothing. Although Hardin Valley is close to Nova. It's not as if you're close to Park West, you're close to Tenova. So it's not as if Hardin Valley is completely isolated from a large level hospital. I'm just telling you that there's not one right now. And I don't even know where they would put one. Okay, that's just my personal opinion. You didn't ask for it, you came for the data. That was my little anecdote. Grocery stores. Look at this, Ingles, Kroger, Publix, Fresh Market, Walmart. That does not even include the Super Target grocery store. Oh, and also there is a Earth Fair that reopened. It closed for a minute. There is the Food City in Hardin Valley. Now there's a Kroger down Hardin Valley, outside of Hardin Valley area. And if you go under the interstate, then you can easily access these places. But I'm just telling you, Hardin Valley itself doesn't really have that. So what is the takeaway here? Hardin Valley is primarily residential. As we stand right now today, you're going to be leaving Hardin Valley to access all of these things. Box gyms. So these are things like they offer everything. They've got rows of treadmills. They've got classes. They've got basketball courts, big box gym. You have Armor Gym, Anytime Fitness, and Armor Gym is a little loose because it's right off Lovell Road, and it's above I-40, so I included it there. There's an Anytime Fitness. You got Anytime Fitness and Gold's Gym, which is formerly The Rush. Oh, there's a YMCA. Look at that. It's in 37922. So this is a little bit, a little sketch. Boutique gyms. So this is like bars and yogas and all that. Clearly in Farragut, there's more options. Pilates, Core Change, Orange Theory. Now, Core Change, Orange Theory, those are all in Turkey Creek, so not that far. And again, it's not like we're looking at this these spaces that are super far away. Because if we look, I mean, they're just, one sits on top of the other. And we've got I-40 that splits them. You've got back roads that take you, like this back road here, takes you from Hardin Valley into Farragut and from Farragut into Hardin Valley. So it's not as if like, oh my God, they're so far. They're not. Do not let me paint that picture for you. Just want to say that. Parks, Farragut, you've got McPhee, Bob Leonard, Founders Park, Anchor Park. Those are pretty significant parks in the scheme of like McPhee Park is great, Anchor Park is great. These are established parks. Whereas in Hardin Valley Community Park, never heard of it. Okay, the last thing as part of this data deep dive that I wanted to talk to you about is schools. The other thing I wanted to point out is Farragut does have a pretty extensive greenway system. So that is certainly a plus. And what is nice about that is it interweaves neighborhoods. It goes along water. I mean, there's just some cool things about the greenway system. It goes behind Turkey Creek. I have a good friend. She actually lives in Hardin Valley, but we use the Farragut Greenway because it's accessible, it's easy. So that's a kind of really cool thing about Farragut, and a lot of it's relatively flat. For those of you that are like, you can't do the hills. Now, let's talk about public schools. So Hardin Valley, as I said, is kind of the last frontier for Knox County, which now Hardin Valley Academy was built. Then what came after that was that Hardin Valley Elementary was built. And what came after that was that Hardin Valley Middle School was built. So now there is an entire Hardin Valley feeder system. And you can imagine that if 42% of your home sales in a zip code are new construction, that people are moving there. So Hardin Valley itself is meant to accommodate about 2,100 students. It's currently, according to the internet, at 112 students. It is a big school. Now, if you're in Miami, where the schools are 50 billion people, obviously that seems like nothing. But a 2,100 student body population is large for Knox County. And Farragut as well is huge, 2,000 students. So those are the two biggest Knox County high schools we have, and they're both West Knoxville. Now, niche.com grades Farragut an A, grades Hardin Valley a B+. Do your research on that. There's pros and cons, obviously, about both. As a former Knox County teacher and certified educator in the state of Tennessee that knows the school systems here very well, I would just encourage you, do your research. But both, niche.com, Farragut High an A, Hardin Valley Academy a B. I'm not talking about Farragut Intermediate, Farragut Primary, Farragut Middle. I'm not talking about that. And I'm not also talking about any of the Hardin Valley feeder schools. So just keep that in mind. I'm strictly talking about the grades that were given to the high schools that are both 9 through 12. Private schools, you've got Concord Christian in the Farragut area and Knoxville Christian. But West Knox itself, when it comes to 8 private schools, there's 8 total private schools. So, if you're looking to the private school, do I have options? Yes, you certainly do. You certainly have options when it comes to West Knoxville. When it comes to, what's happening in Farragut and Hardin Valley, it's a little bit different story. There's not as many private schools. So anyways, I hope you feel informed. I hope this has been helpful for you. I did want to see about this rent number. West Knox in general, $1,200 for rent, and then Knox County, $1,300. Yeah, I hope this has been helpful as always. I love talking about this stuff. I think it's super interesting and super informative, other than just I've done map tours, I've driven around them. So go check out those areas. I have one video that's me driving through all of them, all of the West Knox areas. So go check that out if you're curious what they actually look like. If you just want to hear anecdotal commentary about Farragut versus Hardin Valley, then go watch that video. So as always, I hope this has been helpful. A couple takeaways is that Farragut's, essentially much more established. You're going to pay more for a house on average in Farragut. Hardin Valley is a little bit more of, there's more opportunity when it comes to new construction. But certainly it's not as developed. You're going to be going into Farragut, or you're going to be going into Cedar Bluff, etc., to do your grocery shopping, etc., things like that. So anyhow, I hope this has been helpful. as always, I always want to share all the stuff about Knoxville and East Tennessee with you. So please click subscribe. If you have video recommendations for me, I am open to those. So you can call, text, or email me, and I will see you on the next video.